What's going on, everybody? It's Jeremy coming to you with another video, and today we're going to react to Tim Pool absolutely destroying the GETTR CEO Jason Miller, formerly of the Trump administration. And you know, fair is fair. I've criticized Tim a lot recently, rightfully so. I'll continue to criticize Tim, but he really did step up tonight and pressed Jason Miller. And I think it was justified because this whole GETTR thing, look, I have a GETTR account. I think it's a fine platform for what I need it to be. But the problem is that they are constantly pushing themselves as this free speech beacon. Oh, we're all about free speech. And then, of course, there's people on there that aren't allowed to be on there. And I don't know a lot about Nick Fuentes. Obviously, he's someone that is very controversial, but by today's standards, being controversial typically just means you say things that the mainstream doesn't want you to say, or you have opinions that the mainstream doesn't want you to have. You know, Republicans and Democrats both hate Nick Fuentes. So whenever you have both sides hating you, that probably means you're doing something right, generally speaking, because both sides are full of shit in their own way, and that's just the facts of the situation. But this all centered around Nick Fuentes being banned from GETTR, and the entire chat, to Tim's credit, at least you acknowledge your chat when they're not talking about your boy Jack Murphy. So I'll give you credit for that. It's clear that Tim looks at his chat. He just doesn't want to talk about his good buddy, Jack Murphy. But that's another video for another day. This particular one, he acknowledged the chat, was overwhelmingly talking about Nick Fuentes, and he decided to ask Jason Miller about that.
A lot of people are asking you why you think Nick Fuentes is a white nationalist.
So from, well, a couple of things. From both from his the comments and things. I mean, he's self-identified.
Well, they're all denying that he's never. So this is what we're getting in comments. They're saying Nick Fuentes has never stated that there is a race better than another race, that white people are better, nor that he's identified as a white nationalist. Nor and this is, I'm not saying it's true because I don't know. I'm just telling you what the comments are asking you. They're wondering why you are accusing him when they say that accusation is false.
Well, I would say, look, even if someone off the street who I didn't know, but they were making an effort to go and recruit.
Well, let me just ask you: have you ever seen or heard anything from Nick Fuentes that was white nationalism? Like, have you directly heard from him specifically?
I have a limited volume of things that I've seen from Nick Fuentes. Obviously, I've seen him use some words that would not be allowed on our platform.
Seen him use these words where? Like, so is this the whole behavior off platform? You can still be held accountable for it? Again, I think Jason Miller just needs to admit that you're trying to appease Google and Apple and stay in their app store. You're trying to appease Amazon. You're trying to appease big tech. And if you would just be transparent about that, I think a lot of people would at least kind of understand. But the fact that you're trying to present yourself as this free speech beacon, you're clearly trying to stay in good with these other platforms so you can be on their platform, so you can benefit from their platform. It's not a bad business move, but at least just admit that that's what you're doing. At least admit that you are still trying to bend the knee to big tech and big government. I have to do it. I don't like it. It's bullshit. But it's also the reality of what we have to do if we want to be on these platforms to build our own platform. But he doesn't want to say that. And I don't know why.
Some racial slurs that would not be allowed on our platform. But the point is, even if it wasn't Fuentes, anyone else who came in and made a similar comment or was trying to organize or pull people together who were in a group that's identified as
who identified them as white nationalists?
As far as on the Groyper side?
Like, I gotta be completely honest, I don't know a whole lot about what Groypers are.
And I'll admit, it's not a community I've spent a ton of time that I've seen, but I've seen a number of writings and things where that's how that group has been defined.
So you're saying because the media has called them white nationalists, you've banned Nick Fuentes?
No, I'd say that, say for the fact that if you're out there trying to organize and collect with a group, that I don't even think it's just the media. I mean, look at many people who've self-ID'd as being part of that group or part of that ideology.
Bro, I don't think you got an argument here, man. This sounds like complete bullshit. I don't think you know anything about what this group is. I got to be honest, I don't either. But this is just talking in circles. I've not listened to Nick Fuentes. I don't know a lot about him. I know that he's been banned across the board. I know that he's had trouble getting on planes. I can hear what his fans are saying, but I don't know. Maybe they're just lying because they want to support him. I really don't know. So it's really difficult for me to be like, to understand exactly what he did wrong. The issue for me is when I ask you, you don't seem to know either.
No, I think
all you said is that he posted, who else here is a groiper? I'm like, well, what's a groiper? You don't know. You just read it in the media and they said something bad about him. Is that justification? For me, I got no idea. Like, I thought you were going to come on and be like, look, Nick Fuentes said this and he said this, and you got to understand we did research on groipers and found this, but you don't even have that.
Look, and I'm going to say on this that you're not going to make everyone happy when you're running a social media platform, and people are going to have different opinions. So your opinion might be that, hey, that's BS. There are other people who are going to say, look, these guys are making sure that this is a safe platform.
That's Twitter. That's Twitter. Now, your point is valid, but it's also a cop-out. It's also a pathetic excuse for you just admitting that you banned him, and I think Tim Pool's right. He was banned because of the mainstream media. He was banned because conservatives hate him just as much as Democrats. You don't even know specifically because there is no specific reason based on what you're saying. Again, much like Tim Pool, I don't know a lot about the guy. I just know that the right and the left hates him, which in my book is always a good thing. Because when the right and the left hates you, that's a good thing. But this right here is not a good look for the free speech platform. You can't sit there and advertise yourself as the free speech platform. You know, like they're more interested in that. I mean, so I have a GETTR account. This is my GETTR account, okay? Now, I mean, I'm not a big deal per se, okay? But I got, a little bit of a following. I have tagged these motherfuckers since July of 2021, telling them that the Geeks and Gamers account is not ran by me. Now, I have had Minds reach out to me before. I have had Odyssey reach out to me. I've had Rumble reach out to me. I've had all of these platforms, these alt-tech platforms, have reached out to me, wanting me to be part of their platforms or whatever. GETTR, I have tried more than any other platform to get GETTR to respond to me because the fucking Geeks and Gamers account is not ran by me. It's someone that hates us, that's trolling us. And these fucks won't respond. But you can damn sure bet they're going to get rid of anybody that wants to say anything positive about Nick Fuentes. And that's what pisses me off about it. So this guy, like, I appreciate that he was in the Trump campaign because I'm obviously a big-time Trump supporter. But that means nothing when, your platform doesn't represent what you say it is. And if you would just admit that you are still at the mercy of big tech, at least people could appreciate the fact that you're being honest. You are at the mercy of big tech. You're trying to act like you're the alternative, but you're still part of the machine, and you're having to bend the knee to stay in good while you build your platform. Just fucking say it, Jason Miller. Just fucking say it. But you won't. We'll continue.
And we respect what they're doing. They're giving us that ability to have that political free speech. And look, we might just disagree on this one.
I just feel like, look, I can, I'll stress it again. I do believe that GETTR is likely to censor less than Twitter is. But I also kind of feel like if you can't give us a direct quote from Nick Fuentes that got him banned, explain to us in detail what a groiper is or how you know what it is, then it just sounds to me that the moment the media piles up on me or Luke or anybody else, you'll ban us too.
No,
I understand they pile up on Nick Fuentes more than anybody else.
But there's hold on. But there is a difference between taking a very pointed political take or saying this is and going into the other direction. And so we've made very clear that we are never going to shadow ban or algorithm or go and use different standards for people based on their political belief.
Let me see about that. Because I know if you type okay, it shows up now. Elijah Schaffer shows up now. It didn't show up. There for a while, Elijah Schaffer was shadow banned, and he tweeted about it. It's clearly fixed now, but it wasn't.
We've made that very clear.
No, I get it, man, but I mean, I still don't understand why you banned Nick Fuentes. Like, you're saying Groypers are bad, you're saying he's a white national and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I mean, as Wikipedia says that, I guess. But isn't it important that, you know, you guys actually have a definitive, this broke the rules? Like, when Luke asked you, what did he say that broke the rules? A lot of people are asking the same question. You never answered that question. You didn't say what rule he broke. What term specifically did he break? And if you're, you know, you responded something to the effect of, you know, Groypers are white nationalists and they're a hateful group and he's recruiting, so, you know, Nation of Islam would be banned as well. My response is, oh, okay, what's a Groyper? And
so this will be, and this is where I told you, I said, look, we should have had our, the more specific community guidelines go into specific examples. We should have already had that posted and up. That's one of the things we're working on now, and we'll have that up very shortly. So it's a little more detailed because, again, the terms of service are always going to be more general because that's your legal contract.
Yeah, you know, this is stuff. This kind of stuff's tough because Dr. Malone gets banned from Twitter for talking about his opinions as a scientist and a researcher, as an expert. He goes on Joe Rogan and he mentions that he's using GETTR, and GETTR allows him to be on the platform. That's correct. Dr. Malone is on GETTR.
Correct, and he's been on for, I think, month and a half, something like that.
And so, you know, one of the things I said about Rumble is that for the time being, I think most people should recognize all of these platforms have similar rules to a certain degree. But there's like certain political bubbles where you're allowed some more leeway than others. And that being said, GETTR I think is a net positive, but I gotta say it's not confidence building. That I know how the media is going to spin this. Tim defends alt-right or whatever. I don't care. I don't know enough about Nick Fuentes to even criticize the guy, other than people have posted things about him and accused him of things.
So,
but if I was running a social media company, my response would, people would come to me and be like, you got to ban this guy. He's recruiting Groypers. I'd be like, what's a Groyper? They'd be like, they're white nationalists. Oh, wow. Can you show me a video clip of them saying and doing these things? And that would, sure. Like, you know, you show me that stuff and be like, oh, okay, maybe we have an issue with that. But I got to be honest, you know, just if that's all he posted, really? Look, it's crazy.
Well, and maybe, look, I mean, maybe this goes in that category from the previous one that you mentioned, that is this a period of time as opposed to...
You notice he will not say that we will take another look. And if he didn't violate our terms of service on our platform, then we will reinstate him. Do you realize he's not even willing to give that as an option? That's kind of suspicious, isn't it? That he won't even give that as an option. And I'm not trying to criticize Tim Pool at all on this. I'll criticize him, obviously, but he asked great questions. He's fantastic at what he does. He's far better than me. And maybe he did. And again, so maybe he did ask this, but in that moment, I would just be like, well, okay, Jason, so, I mean, since you can't give a definitive answer as to what he did, can you say that your team will go back and look at it? And then if he didn't do anything that violated your terms of service on your platform, you'll be willing to reinstate him? That would be a very interesting thing to hear him answer, but I think we all know the answer to the question. And you know, they're more worried about stuff like this than literally someone. And again, I understand I'm not a big deal. I understand I'm not that important, because it's all about importance level. It's really not about anything. Geeks and Gamers is being imitated by someone else that's hurting my company brand on their platform, and they've known about this, or at least they've been notified of this since July of 2021, and here we are in 2022, and nothing has happened. And not only I have commented on it, I have had other people that follow me have tagged support. They have responded to it, said, we'll look into this. Nothing is happening yet. But hey, let's make sure that, you know, Nick Fuentes is not on our platform anymore. Because why? Because you can't even give a reason why. It's just, GETTR is just a right-wing Twitter. That's all it is. That's it. Just say it. Just admit that's what you are. That's what it is. But let's listen to a little bit more of this and we'll wrap it up.
As opposed to being indefinite. That's one of the things we'll have to go and discuss. But again, your point, Tim, I think it seems that you're getting to is, how do you know that things won't change? How do you know the rug won't get pulled out from, and look, you can make the same point or criticism about any platform. Ultimately, what you have to point to are who are the people that are on the platform. What are the debates that are being allowed to happen that are different from other platforms? And also, I think, what is your mission statement? What are you trying to accomplish? And I think what we do on that, both with people on the platform and the debates that are being allowed to happen there, I think is different from anywhere else.
Yeah, but free speech is free speech, not speech that's going to keep you safe. You know, and I think there's a distinction to make here. And I think just being transparent and open, especially when it comes to major decisions, would be a major step forward for any big tech company that would reassure people exactly what's happening behind the scenes and the decisions why they're made. So I think that's what Tim's trying to get at.
Yeah, and I think that's I think the transparency part I think is very fair, and I think that
It's not very fair. It's like, again, nobody has the right to be on your platform if you don't want them on your platform. But if you're going to implement community guidelines, and then you're going to advertise yourself as a free speech beacon, and you're going to say that we're not going to do what Twitter does or what other platforms do, and then you've got this person who was banned, but you can't give a reason as to why they were banned, you're the one that's breaking your own terms of service. I don't have a problem with rules, and I don't have a problem with rules being implemented and carried out. It's the inconsistency of the rules. It's the same thing we deal with on this platform on YouTube. It's the same thing we deal with on Facebook. It's the same thing we deal with on Twitter. And you love to go back to, well, everybody has problems. That's right, because you are just like the other platforms. So stop acting like you're different. Stop acting like you're different. That's the whole problem I have with it. But ultimately, like I said, I don't have a problem if you have rules. You have to have rules. I have no problem with the social media company having rules. I have no problem with YouTube having rules and guidelines. What I have a problem with is when you have people that just randomly get banned and there's no communication. There's no communication. They don't know what they did. They don't have any strikes, yet their channel gets taken down. That's the problem. And that's the same thing GETTR's doing in this situation, and it's very concerning to a lot of people, rightfully so. So, shout out to Tim Pool. For all of my criticisms of him over the Jack Murphy stuff, I definitely wanted to give him credit for this because I thought it was very respectful for him to stand up. It's also credit to Jason Miller for coming on there. He is doing more than the Jack Murphys or the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world would do. There's no way they would go onto Tim Pool's show and talk with Tim. There's just no way they would. So you got to give the guy credit for going in there and doing that. And I do. I give him credit for that. But at the end of the day, he's just trying to appease big tech, but he's acting like he is all, I'm against the big tech. And that's, it's disingenuous. So you guys have a great day. Thank you very much for checking out this video, and we will talk to you later.